We used to race every weekend. So, then we had a lot of fun.
Hey Larry,
Yeah.
was that called Tenora?
Huh?
Was that called Tenora?
Tornado Dragways.
Yeah, okay.
Were you there?
I do remember it.
We used to have a lot of fun there. So, this is just some of the pictures, and Jim has gone all of the work of putting all this together for us. So, we gotta give him credit for that part.
All right, no problem. I think the biggest problem is that we're all from northern Wisconsin, and we won't tell people what we know about what we do in this interest. There's a kind of a superficial kind of, you wouldn't believe how hard I had to work on this guy to get these pictures out of him. Just doesn't want to tell us what he did.
It's just a hobby, Jim.
I call it a passion.
Just like your hobby is woodworking.
So is that your boat too, or?
That's in the backyard.
Okay, we'll get going here.
Is that your car there? That's my father-in-law's car.
All
So
right.
after this, can we go get a picture with you two for a video? Gosh, yes. Okay, that sounds definitely.
We have a question for Larry here. Just to give you an idea where we're headed, I took two sets of pictures from Larry, and then I had another guest that was going to be here, although we discovered his wife just got back from Alaska, a trip to Alaska, and discovered he had COVID, so he's home in quarantine right now. But I'll be talking about Greg a little bit as well. So the first thing we're going to look at is from the junkyard to the car show. Okay? And here's a question now for Larry. Maybe say the word. Well, we'll do it the other
Here
way.
we go. Brought it back, got it northern Minnesota, brought it back here. We tore it all apart, started rebuilding it. We had just a lot of fun. That's kind of what we got started on. The next one I did was a 1967 GTO that I bought up-grown Minot. Needed complete repair, had a motor in it, but that's the second one I did. And the reason I bought that car is when I got out of the service, I ordered a 1967 GTO black with a white interior and 4-speed transmission. That was my car that I really started racing with, and we just had a tremendous fun. Then after I bought that one, I went and bought another 67 GTO out in Phoenix, Arizona. It was just a shell, and I built another one exactly like I wanted with the white interior and everything. So we just had a tremendous amount of fun. Don't work, Jim?
It does.
Oh, it does.
All
Okay.
right, here we go. So the first example is going from the junkyard to a car show. Are you ready? We have a question for Larry here. When you go out to get a car that you want to restore, what are you looking for? He doesn't know these questions are coming up.
Well, most times you look for a car that's kind of your favorite car, something you've seen in the past, and you'd like to do something similar to that same car. So I think that was when I probably went out and bought a 55 Chevrolet, which was a lot of fun.
Well, we're going to talk about that.
Yep.
What do you want to avoid if you can? When you look at a car, what do you want to avoid buying?
If you're gonna buy an old car, you might as well figure you're gonna tear it all apart, start over, and just take everything out of it, lay it on the ground, mark it, and then start putting it back together. And have some big pocketbook, okay? That one also.
What about rust and stuff? Does that bother you?
Not really, normally we can cut rust out, and we make panels, our own panels and everything, so we can, pretty much refurnish your car.
Okay, now I want you to look and see what he bought. You ready? Maybe. Tell us, that's a 1955.
Chevrolet convertible, Bel
You
Air.
can tell it's a convertible, there's no top.
That's what we
There's
start
no
with.
side doors.
How much did you pay for that, Larry?
I think because of that, convertibles at that time were pretty expensive, so I think it was around 1,500. Yeah.
Especially for that, now, here's, look at what's in on the front side of it. No motor,
Nope, no motor. But that's what we started.
the back end is from a different car, right?
Yep, I bought just the rear part of a car and welded it onto the other car because the back end was all rusted out of it. So that's what we do.
You look at that door, it's sagging, so he's gotta straighten that all out on the side there and all that.
Big thing is finding parts. At that time, I was doing 55 Chevy. You couldn't hardly find parts for 55 Chevy. Now, if you go look, they're all over the place.
So I asked Larry, I said, how many hours did it spend? He says, I have absolutely no idea. It took 3.5 years. All right. Are you ready? This is what those guys did. Whoa. Isn't that a beauty? Can you imagine going from that pile of junk to this thing here? 3.5 years.
Yep.
What year did you buy it?
I don't remember, I'm sorry. I've done so many of them, I don't remember years, okay? So that was a nice car, I got it done. Had it down in Iola, Wisconsin to the car show, and some guy come along and he offered me a lot more money than I had into it, so I let it go. I paid off my house loan because of that.
There is at the car show, and if you look, you even see those dice on the, that's,
Oh, yeah.
right, that's all part of the ethos of it. I want to back up for just a minute, because I want to tell you about something here. This is, for those of you that don't know too much about motors, this is school now, okay? That's kind of a picture of the working parts of the V8. It's called 8 because it has 8 cylinders. It's called V because the pistons are in a V shape, and those pistons go up and down inside cylinders, all right? So the way to think about this is it's kind of like your little round can of Quaker Oats. And if you look at the crank shaft that everything turns around on is right there, all right? And then this connecting rod is connected up above, or at least off center from that a little bit. When the crank is sticking up, I'm sorry, I got it backwards. There's the crank and there's the connecting section here. When the crank is up, it pushes the piston up. When the crank is pointing down, it pushes it down, and the distance between those two is called a stroke. That's typically about 3 inches. That's about how far these engines would go. And the width across there, across the Quaker Oats can there is about 3 inches. So the question is, how many oats could you put in there? Right, because that's what they're worried about. They want to get as much of volume in there as they can, and then compressed up nice and tight, and then squirt gas into it and have an explosion.
Some of the first V8s that come out were called a 265 cubic inch motor. Now they're all the way up to, you can get almost 532 cubic inch motor, new ones. So they're tremendous what they can do.
So here's the idea of that car that you just had. It had 265 cubic inches when you add it all up, 265. All right? And the key is that was one of the first small engines that they were able to produce and get as much power out of. Okay, we could talk about all the stuff that's inside there. You get very started, we'd be here all night. But it's 225 horsepower. Remember that now. 265 cubic inches and 225 horsepower. That's the best we got up. Okay. But now we'll see something happen here a little bit. All right, we'll go and jump ahead now. I'm gonna give you a story now of the fellow who couldn't be here. He and a friend were cruising around in a 57 Chevy. That was a car that I learned to drive. And they decided they'd have that rebuilt. They just on a whim decided to have rebuilt. There are pictures of that. But in the process, the way they got enough money was they started swapping engines. So he's got this story here of how he started off with 283 and then he went to an engine that had almost 400 cubic inches, except it's what he said, it was in a basket. meaning all the pieces were all apart, you know, kind of mess. And they took that and they actually swapped that for a Model A car that was in an abandoned, gas station. And in order to get it out, they had to tear out one of the walls. He's a high school teacher, and he had his class, and he sort of went after that and tore out the side of the wall out of the gas station, and there's what they brought out. And it was missing one wheel, so they pulled it out on a snow shovel. So they disassembled it totally in the shop there, including some stuff that had gotten broken. They took it over here to Boomer to get what they call a overdrive so that the thing would have higher speed. They installed steering. I don't know if you've ever done any fiberglass work, it's itchy. It's really bad. That's why the word fun is there. Here's his classroom, and he's got that thing working, almost working now in the classroom. There it is, it's ready to roll. That's his class work on that. Now this is describing the race that they were trying to get ready for. That race went all the way from Spokane, Washington, clear over to I can't remember the name of the town in was it Massachusetts, I think it was. Anyhow, it was a long way. They had to do it in 14 days, and the way to run was by getting to the time as close as possible. But there was no using calculators. It all had to be done in their heads, right? How fast to drive and so on. In the middle of that, he got word of a car that was already on the road, and so they took that car, took it real quickly apart, repainted it, and used that to get across. It's the same one as what they were building. Here it is, 4,400 miles later, crossing the line. Rain didn't matter. If a car broke down, it did. You had the people who were driving it had to fix it, and they could only use the parts that they had in the car. And if you look right here, you can see him. That he's the proud teacher back there. And these are the students that are driving. So that was quite a deal. They came out 32nd out of 97 cars. Not bad for high school kids, I think. Pretty amazing. Okay, now Larry talked a little bit about these new cars. There's one he's going to start with.
That's the first GTO I bought, yes. Then, when doors and stuff are missing, then you start searching all throughout the United States to find parts for it. You start getting at the time we do these cars, we didn't have the internet then. It was mostly Hemmings Motor News or knowing somebody, that's how you found parts. Junkyards, you go spend a day at the junkyard finding parts for your car.
This one has a radiator and a motor. First time I've ever seen this, it has two carburetors.
Three. That car had a, what was it, a 400 in with tri-power carburation from 66 on it is what it did. Had pretty much a racing motor in it.
So Larry, do you like working on bodies more or the motor more?
I'd rather work on the motors. Bodies are really time consuming.
Mm-hmm.
Brent, my son right now, is the one who can do body stuff. I just help him. He makes everything, so he's really good at it, okay?
Look at what he's made there. That's from a flat piece of steel, and he presses it around. He has all kinds of equipment and stuff, and will just actually can form it like seems to me like it's like butter.
Yeah. There's always rust in the cars. Unless you can get them out of California, everything around here is all rusty. So that's important.
So they cut it out.
Yep, cut it off, replace
Here's an
it.
example.
That was the first one I ever did. Hay wagon, put
Back up.
4x4s underneath it, support the body, so you got the whole frame and everything off, and work on this separately. Paint everything.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah.
So where do you get the final paint job, Larry? And what do you do with things like spray paint and all that chrome?
I have had, Bill Wise has painted a couple of cars for me, if you remember Bill at Barron Body Shop. He was pretty good at it, he would paint cars for me. I have painted 3 cars, I painted 1970 Mustang, 67 GTO I painted, then I painted my son's race car when he was doing racing at the dirt track. So I have painted some at home.
How about the parts like hubcaps and some of these things that are just,
You gotta go to Iowa and walk and look for parts. That's where you'll find them.
well, there's those 2 GTOs.
Yeah, so these are my 2 GTOs here. This is the last one I did because it's got the white interior, parchment interior. This one has the red interior.
Somebody came along and wanted to buy one of those.
So I sold this one to a guy in Minnesota.
Will you tell us how much?
I don't remember exactly, I think it's around 12,000, 15,000.
That's really pretty inexpensive when you think of the amount of hours.
Yeah.
Now, when I look at that picture, I'm just stunned because every one of those cars has got the same story, right? As far as
Yep.
number of hours.
Yeah, that's what everybody does.
Okay, does he do old tractors?
Yep. That was a TO30 Ferguson that I tore apart, bought it from the village of Birchwood and tore it all apart and fixed everything, and then I repainted it, put it all back together.
Pretty amazing. I have another picture which he's gonna have to explain here. He has another old tractor.
That's my grandson's, who goes to Barron School now. He's a freshman this year, yeah, he's a freshman. That's old Farmall C that I bought and restored, new tires and paint, and I paint most of my own tractors because I can paint them outside or in my pole barn.
Okay, then I'm going to just give you a real picture. This is great, we normally talk about this, but this is a story of that 57 Chev that they have redone, okay? And so there they've lifted the body off and the frame is in better shape than the outside of my car. As far as the amount of time they spent spraying it and fixing it. Look at the motor. There's the body that they're getting ready to put on, but it's, you know, there's the underside of it. It seems like they ought to wax it to me, but, they're letting the front down. They're getting ready to now, Larry went through this with his, they had to actually build that convertible top on there, right?
Yep. The cars put the top on for me.
Now they have to go inside and work on the inside. There it is.
Car like that probably sells between $60,000 and $70,000.
Then I have a really quick story. I don't know how we're doing on time, but I have a quick story about this. This actually is gasoline powered. How are we doing, Tammy?
52.
Okay. Maytag had this would have been back probably more in, on the eastern side of our state, but Maytag had a special program where they were trying to impress the ladies with how reliable the gasoline engine was that would run their washing machine. Are you aware of some of that history? In fact, I think the Amish still use a washing machine inside the house with a drive shaft that goes out to a gasoline engine. Okay. What they did was they had the little kids run around town selling information about these things, and I think it was like the 10 ones that did the most got some kind of award, but they actually gave these cars to the winners of that program, and these cars actually have that gasoline engine in it. And he was going to bring that this afternoon and show it to you upstairs, so we'll be able to get that. But you can see he's 5 years old. He drove it and drove it and drove it and drove it and drove it, and it still runs. Greg has two of them, I think, in his garage now, something like that. So that's the story of that. And whoops, I'm going the wrong direction. Sorry about that. And then another hobby that he has is he collects these engines. And this is where we're going to use that information we just had, right? It was the cubic inches was significantly bigger than the horsepower. Count the number of plugs on that.
It's on this side.
It's a V8, I mean, it's a V engine. So there's 12. And if you look at the ports that come out for the exhaust, there's only 4. So you can imagine the work that they had to do inside there to get those to come out. And here's the car it went in. That's a Lincoln Zephyr. V12.
Marv Amundsen told the story that he took his dad had a V12 Lincoln.
Is that right?
And took his driver's test in a V12 Lincoln, and the inspector was more impressed with the car than him, so he didn't pass the car.
Can you, I can imagine that in the first car. Now here's the one I wanted to show you there. This is a Corvette engine that's out of the Corvette that's in the bottom down there, but look at the cubic inches on the left is smaller than the number of horsepower on the right. That was a real breakthrough. I can remember people fighting like crazy. I think it was Chevy that did it, was it? I'm pretty sure it's the one that managed.
It was about 62, 409, 409.
Okay. That's where they matched up, huh? 62.
Two big quads, though, on top of it.
That's why that one's was called 409. All right. Here's an old GMC truck engine, but it's a V6. I don't know what's on the left there, something special. But what Greg does is he buys these engines and then he puts them on a trailer and then he takes these trailers out to different schools and different car shows. That's an engine that I know about as far as boating. It's very great. And that's it. Are there questions?
I was gonna make a little observation, Harry Ferguson worked with Henry Ford, and they created the Ford tractor, and it had the Harry Ferguson hydraulic system, which would use the plow to put weight on the back wheels so that you wouldn't have to have such a heavy tractor and it wouldn't spin, and it could pull the plow. And then when the plow hit a rock, there was a relief valve, and instead of breaking the plow, the tractor would then spin because it would stop lifting. And that was just a genius idea, which has become, still in place today in all tractors. And then when they split, Ford borrowed Harry's ingenuity, and Harry didn't like that, so he sued Ford and got something like $10 million, and then he could start his own Ferguson company.
Wow.
Other questions?
Oh, a great place for parts is teenagers right out here. Why did they leave?
Larry cleaned them out.
Just to give you an idea, like if you have a car, you need to have the interior done, new headliner, new seats, new carpeting, door panels, everything done. You're probably looking at $12,000 to $16,000 to get it done.
If you get it.
You get a motor rebuilt, just to have the bare motor, just have it cleaned up, poured out, get all the pistons and everything, you're gonna start out at $4,000, then you gotta put it all together. So it's not a cheap hobby.
You kind of scoff at the people now who just get to go on the internet on their computer and just get to order stuff, and you don't have to hit the road like you did and search for these things.
Now you go on the internet, they're finding most of it, right now, 55, 56, and 57 Chevrolets, there's a number of places that sell repair panels, motors, every piece of that car you can buy.
Does that feel like cheating though?
Pardon?
Does that feel like cheating to you?
No.
He does it too, so it's okay.
He's buying it too.
But now, Brent is building right now a 1967 or 62 Imperial. You can't find parts anywhere for it. He's gotta have everything made or get redone what he's doing. My grandson is working on a 1960 Plymouth Fury that we're working on right now that we gotta make all the panels for, tear it all apart, and parts are very hard to find for that. Like the plastics top stoplight, you know, lenses and stuff, impossible to find, you just have to keep searching and searching and searching. And Loretta has got a car that we're working on right now, 74 Dart?
Yep, 74 Dodge Dart.
Yeah, that's kinda got put on the back burner, can I put it that way? It's sitting there.
Well, okay, so it's on the back burner because my son is 17, he turns 18, he's gonna be graduating, so we're trying to get all of the time in with a three guys working on the car. On his car, so that means more to me than getting my car. I give my husband a hard time all the time, but mine will get done sometime.
Long sacrifice.
Yep,
Sharon
you got
had a
it.
question.
Yep.
Brad and I, we have the rotisserie, so we can put a vehicle on a rotisserie and turn it upside down to work on them. He has a milling machine, he's got a lathe, he has laser cutters, we have another laser machine, throws a little, well, that wide out that you can take paint and stuff off with. So we have quite a bit of equipment. We have a lift for lifting cars up in the post lift and everything, so.
Do you have pictures of those, Jim?
I think I had them on that rotating,
Okay.
did you guys see that stuff?
Yeah, so, you know, that's kind of a expensive hobby. I better quit.
Okay, no, she's got a question, quick.
Quick question.
I did, so, okay, like you buy a 57 Chevrolet or something, but when you have to like start putting in those, where your feet would be, sorry, don't know these terms here, and have that made, does that decrease the value of it all by when you make these
No.
parts for it? It doesn't. So what makes the 57? Like, when you tear it all apart, you just basically have a frame, that's it?
Well, you fix all the rust in it. Most times, you could buy new fenders for 57 Chevrolet, brand new ones made in China. Oh,
Does
yeah.
that take away the value?
Nope.
It doesn't.
Do people still wanna buy them?
Pardon?
I mean, when somebody comes to buy one from you, do they ask?
No.
How many of these parts
No,
have been?
the only time you have something that people will ask is if you've got a high value car that's 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, they'll ask that about parts and stuff that are used on it. But most of our hobby stuff, they don't, okay? The car sitting out front's a 1970 Super Bee, sold new for about $4,500. Right now, it's probably between a $60,000 and $70,000 car.
Be sure and stop and look at that, you know, he's gonna want to slip out, make sure that he.
Don't mark close to it though. My son's got a Cuda we worked on, for about 6 years, rebuilding. And that's probably, now that he's got it all done, that's probably a $70,000, $80,000 car. So, very expensive.
But you can always guarantee that you've got more into it than you'll probably sell it for.
It works out to about 50 cents an hour.
Yeah.
Are there any other announcements that you need to announce today?